Hi everyone, my name is Esredu and I humbly welcome you back to my channel. Well, we are back again with our reaction videos. I know it's been a while, but we are back to the archives of Charlie Kirk, and it is titled as Charlie Kirk puts entitled leftist in her place. Bro, as usual, I don't really know what to expect since this is my first time of watching this particular piece. So please sit back, relax, and let's enjoy this to the fullest. Let's go!
I think education is really awesome. I think it's really valuable. I think education's the only way that someone like you is able to write a book is because someone taught you how to read and write. And education on all levels is great. So that's not I don't think that's your issue with college, right?
Do you know where I went to college?
I don't think that's important right now. Let me just...
I didn't.
I'm just talking I said read and write, like who taught you to read?
No, I agree. I didn't say grade school's a scam.
Can we just keep going? All right.
I said college is a scam, not grade school.
Right.
Keep going.
So we're talking about the financial part, right? So do you think that college should be free then, so that everybody can get like a free education?
No.
Why not?
By the way, what's happening in college is not an education.
Well, okay. You don't think that college should be free because it's not an education? If it was
no.
Wait. If it was an education in your eyes, would you think that should be free, or do you
what do you mean by free? You mean paid by somebody else?
Well, sure, our taxpayer dollars would go to pay for it.
So paid by somebody else.
Sure.
Sure. No, I don't believe that your schooling should be paid by somebody else.
I want my taxes to go to schooling for everybody. I think education's great. I don't want my taxes to go to fund wars. I don't want my taxes to go to the military or the police budget, but I don't get to pick.
You don't want any military?
I don't think that it should go to fund the military like that. I want my taxes.
You don't want any police force?
I want my taxes to go towards education because I think education is valuable. Do you think that education should be paid for?
So define education, I'm curious.
Sure, it's just I would probably say that education right now is the ability to go out and learn different mindsets, to be introduced to different subjects, to have the opportunities to talk about these things with a lot of different kinds of people. I think that's the really cool part about college. Someone like you can come here and have different opinions. My history teacher just talked about how he does this whole like, I'm a conservative, old school conservative act, and then one of my other teachers, she's like, I'm a bleeding hippie, you know? There's like a lot of opportunities to just be introduced to subjects you didn't even know were a thing. Like, I didn't know that semiotics was a thing until my last philosophy class, and I think that's really interesting. So just the idea that you get to go out to this place and you get to get taught about a bunch of different ideas, are you against that being available for everyone?
Oh, I have a completely different view of what education is. So education in Latin means to lead forth.
Okay.
Your idea of education is the new age, which is we're going to have like a buffet line of postmodern ideas and all ideas are treated the same. I don't believe that at all. College means partnership in Greek, and going back to education, you must lead forth towards something. And I think college should lead you towards the good, the true, and the beautiful.
Okay.
It should lead you towards things.
You think it should lead towards beautiful things?
Of course.
Like beautiful things? Like, you think that we should go out after college and be like, where's the prettiest thing that's
If your idea of beauty is just the aesthetic, then you're not having a great college experience.
What's your idea of beauty? My bad.
That which is perfected in being.
Okay, so you really like the Greek ideas and like the Roman ideas of like the idea of perfection and perfect harmony, because that's like a very Greek and Roman way of approaching.
It's Western, which is the civilization we currently live in.
Okay, but let me finish. From Greek and Roman
Of course, you're right. So the good, the true, and the beautiful are the three things that every college student should grapple with. Do you think in this current university that is what you're currently grappling with? That the focus of your education is enriching yourself to get closer to what is good, what is true, and beautiful?
See, I don't engage with you on the ideas that good, true, and beautiful are something that can be defined and something that can be taught.
You're perfect evidence of why I think college is a scam.
Why do you... Wait, I don't...
Because of course they could be defined, and they should be sought after.
Okay, so you think that something like the beautiful, the perfect... Like
yes.
Something like goodness can be defined in quantifiable, teachable... because you're Christian, I forgot. You guys think that there's like a binary to goodness.
There's a hierarchy, not a binary. There's an ultimate perfection. The ultimate perfection would be that there's a creator who loves you, who made you in his image, and loved you so much to come down and take the broken flesh form, live a perfect life, die and rise from the dead, so that you might live forever. There is nothing more perfect, good, true, or beautiful than that.
Okay, so I don't really really engaged with religion like that, but what about just the idea that you get to go to a place, you get taught about different subjects, you get the opportunity, okay, I'm sorry, because you don't have access to all these things wherever you come from. You get the opportunity to talk to people who know a lot about these different subjects and get to learn about that. You don't think that should be free or like provided
First of all, I don't
for?
think it should be free, and I don't think that's what education should be or what it once was when it was at its best.
When do you think it was at its best? Because we have like the Indian golden house of, oh no, I think it was called the Baghdad golden house of wisdom. We have the Greek and Roman, and they had their whole thing about how you have to learn astrology at the same time as learning your education.
Correct.
We have like so many different points of learning and knowledge. I think people just love to learn. I think learning is inherent to what we want to do with our lives.
So two thoughts. That is the first line of Aristotle's metaphysics, which is all people seek to know, that something within us wants to learn. So to answer your question, when was education at its best?
You were the one who was like, education is not at their best here. You're like, this is your new age bullshit. Like
it is. So
when was it good?
I was about to say that and you interrupted me again, okay?
My bad, I'm sorry.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, before they proceed, let us, dissect one or two things here. If my memory serves me right, Charlie made the comment that, people like this beautiful lady in question happens to be the reason why he sometimes boldly say college is a scam. I got taken aback when Charlie made mention of that. Man, that was too harsh. I didn't really expect that. All right, let's put that aside. The comment came out when Charlie made mention about beauty and perfection, where the lady boldly mentioned that something of the sort cannot be defined. But Charlie is of the opposing view. Clearly, a school of thought will agree with Charlie, whilst a different school of thought will disagree with Charlie. There's a popular saying that, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. And trust me, the word beauty, perfection, it is very relative, if I should be honest with you, wonderful people. Now, the fact that something is perfect in your sight doesn't mean it is perfect in the sight of the other person. You understand what I'm talking about? And the fact that you do describe something as beautiful doesn't mean the other party should also describe it as such. I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about. But Charlie was smart to pick an example from the beautiful creation of the Most High God. But ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, and let's be honest to ourselves. Does that example really count? No, let's be honest. Does that example really count? Does that example really count? Like, I am a 100% Christian. I love my God, whether rain or shine. I love my God. But I didn't really expect Charlie to take or to cite an example from that angle with a mere motive of making the lady sound stupid or something. I really disagree. Because, we are talking of certain things from our physical being. And I believe that is what led the conversation to this particular end. So Charlie citing an example by using this beautiful creation from the Most High God, that was uncalled for. You understand what I'm talking about? That was uncalled for. Because I was expecting him to cite an example or, something from our immediate environment. By the mere fact that he decided to attribute it to this wonderful creation of God made me realize Charlie was trying to make the lady look stupid in one way or the other. Because trust me, there is nothing as beautiful and as perfect than the handiwork of the Supreme God of our Father in heaven, which was done within a period of 6 days. So we all know it. We all describe his works as perfect. We describe him as a perfectionist, and aside our Father in heaven, no other person or work or works can be described as being perfect or extremely beautiful. So I was expecting Charlie to cite a different example altogether. But hey, so as a very good friend of mine would say, it is what it is. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's proceed. I believe in the course of this particular video, you will get the opportunity to understand one or two things. So we still try our possible best to share our thoughts on the above subject. Let's go.
So it was at its best when we had a thing called classical education here in America, specifically around the American founding. Classical education has a prioritization on Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, and the core canon of Greek thinking, which is that there is an abstract, distant good the Logos, which created the world, right? I want to try to find out more about what that is.
So you think that education should revolve around ethics then? You think it should be
Well,
teaching
it's a
people...
big part of education, yes. I think that creating good people should be the #1 priority of education.
Okay.
Do you guys think that creating good people is a priority at Cal State Fullerton?
I don't think that that is really a thing that you can achieve, like, with a pointed... I don't think there's a way to really teach somebody... Being a good person is so hard, and it involves so many different factors.
I could prove to you how we could do it.
We're getting a little bit too general with things, because the Greeks and the Romans, they weren't really like... They had a lot of beliefs, okay? Plato and Aristotle were not like, let's do the most good. They were not all in agreement about all these different things. They had a lot of different
They had a teacher-student relationship. But let me ask you a question. Do you think people would commit more crimes or less crimes if they knew that a police officer was watching them at all times?
I don't think this is what we're talking about, bro.
No, you said you cannot teach people good. I'm asking a question. If somebody thought that somebody was watching their actions, would they behave differently?
I think that people behave differently when
yes,
people watch their actions.
Therefore, if society thought that there was a God that was watching all of their actions, would they behave differently?
Do you feel like you behave better when someone is watching your actions?
Absolutely. And in fact,
So you feel like you can't be good without someone there to observe
it's not a matter of you can't be good, is that you act better if you think that there is somebody watching and judging your actions.
That feels really unfortunate for you, because I want to do good because I think it's better for the people around me, not because someone's watching me. That's like the ideas of the panopticon.
Well, hold on a second. But if you believe that somebody is always watching your behavior, you'd be less likely to lie, less likely to steal, less likely to cheat. And this is a good question, because you're coming after this in good faith. Do you think human beings are generally naturally good or generally not so good? Are we flawed from our birth, or are we good, or are we a blank slate?
See, you're bringing up these Christian ideas of good again. I don't think we really come to the same synthesis on what a good person is.
Okay,
I feel like,
was Hitler good?
I feel like, again, you're not listening to me. I feel like we don't come to the same synthesis about what good is, because for me, I think that something like good is, again, the question of ethics. It's not really a question of education, right? So you have to decide what people decide for themselves is good is different, right? So Hitler thought what he was doing was good for his people. We do not see his actions as good because he was pretty awful to a lot of people. But when we turn things into an ethical question, he may see it as doing good for himself and God, because yes, a lot of people believe they're doing good for God, even if that thing is killing people.
Was Hitler doing something objectively wrong?
Which thing are you talking about? You're talking about the
concentration camps.
No, I don't like the concentration camps, believe it or not.
But hold on, you don't like. So was that objectively bad?
Objectively bad? I do think that hurting people is objectively bad.
Okay, so now we're believing in bad. So then good. There's a spectrum now. You said objectively bad. So you now just said there's a spectrum. It's not a matter of, well, somebody wanted to do some good for yourself. No. Now there's a spectrum. Concentration camp bad. So then let's get away from that. How about Mother Teresa? Good?
Are you talking about her actions in trying to help the poor?
Hundreds of thousands of poor people that were saved in India and Calcutta thanks to her sacrificial work over 30 years.
I don't know Mother Teresa like that, but can we go back to... I feel like we've gotten really off track.
No, you're talking about the most important thing.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I believe they are trying to find their way back on track. Let me quickly chip something in, since they are still talking about good and bad aspects of man in our society. Now, the first Prime Minister of the Republic of Ghana, a man after my own heart, known as Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, he once said something, and I quote, "Nobody was born to be a criminal, but it is the society that makes him or her so." Charlie is trying to create the assumption that if we do have a lot of Christ-centered people around, the kind of wrongdoing happening in our society will reduce to its barest minimum. But I believe we already have a lot of Christians in our part of the world today. But there is still a big problem, you understand? Because I believe being a Christian does not necessarily solve the issue pertaining to good and bad. I don't know if you are getting where I'm coming from, but let me take my time to analyze things properly. Statistics clearly indicate that Christians or Christianity is the largest religion on this particular planet, according to available statistics. But what are we seeing in our part of the world today? Backbiting, stealing, killing, bearing false witness against thy neighbor, going contrary to the 10 commandments that was handed over to Moses while he was leading the Israelites from the land of Egypt to the promised land. So clearly we have a whole lot of Christians around. Clearly we have a whole lot of Christians, more than any other religious denomination or group. But the bad deeds still persist. So now this is a clear indication that majority of the bad people around are still Christians. It's rather unfortunate that people call themselves Christians, but they do not live their life in line with the Christ likeness, which is the reason why they do call themselves Christians. You understand what I'm talking about? I keep saying that as Christians, our manual is the Bible. That is the Word of God. When you move to the accounting profession, their manual happens to be the International Accounting Standard or the International Financial Reporting Standard. Any profession do have their manual. When you go to the court of law, they base their judgment on what has been coded in the constitution of a particular country. In Ghana here, we always use the 1992 constitution, which is the highest law of the land. So now our problem in society ends the fact that we don't have a lot of God-minded or conscious-minded people around. We have a lot of such people around, but the thing is, people are not living according to the requirements of the religion they claim to love and be members of it. You understand what I'm talking about? If you claim to be a Christian and you know very well that the Word of God is against bearing false witness against thy neighbor or sleeping with another person's wife, and you keep doing it, that is a clear indication that you do not even respect the religion you claim to love and cherish so much. Understand what I'm talking about? That is why it is written that on the day of accountability, a lot of people will come. But we prophesied in your name. We healed the sick in your name. We did a whole lot of wonderful stuff in your name. And what is the response? I know you not. I know thee not. So, sometimes let's try to separate religion from good and bad a little, because I believe very well that to be a good person, you don't necessarily have to be a Christian or be part of a different religious denomination. Being a good person should come directly from your subconscious memory. Being a good person is just common sense. So if I know very well that my neighbor is going to be in pain if I steal from him, common sense should tell me not to do something of the sort. Because if the same thing should happen to me, I wouldn't be a happy person. So common sense also comes to play here. I previously made mention of the 10 commandments that was handed over to Moses by God. So now if you should analyze the 10 commandments properly, you realize that out of those 10 commandments, you can easily demarcate them into two parts. One part is likely to be man's duty to man, and the other part is man's duty to God. So man's duty to man include commandments like thou shalt not kill, that is your fellow man, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, and others. All this boils down to the fact that you should love your neighbor as yourself. So whether you're a Christian or not, common sense should tell you to love your neighbor as yourself. Because the kind of pain you are thinking of inflicting on the neighbor, if the same pain is inflicted on you, I'm not sure you're going to be happy about it. So love your neighbor as yourself. That is part of the commandment. I don't really know where this conversation is going, because they seem to be picking a lot of topics or subjects from various angles. And I also don't really appreciate the fact that the title describes the lady as a leftist. No, I don't really agree to that. But ladies and gentlemen, let's proceed. Maybe something in the course of the video is likely to change our narrative or something. Alright, let's go.
Hey, dude, you're interrupting me again.
Well, it is kind of our table. So,
so you can interrupt me, but I can't interrupt you.
Hold on. The fact you can't answer this question shows that college is a scam. Because if you can't say that Mother Teresa good and Hitler
Mother
bad...
Teresa denied anesthetics to people who were in serious pain because she thought the suffering would bring them closer to God. I think a lot of what she did could be considered...
that to be true.
Okay,
but I'll take
whatever. We can't just reference random things and use that, because right now we're talking about ideologies. Again, I find that what I consider to be good revolves more around the fact that humans are social creatures, and generally pro-social attitudes of promoting collectivism tends to be better for people just because that's in our evolutionary nature.
Is it?
You are a Christian. So you believe that there's a guy watching you and that's what makes you do good. You're
no,
like,
it's not.
if someone's
that is
watching me, I am more likely to be nice. But I want to be nice
there's a
because
lot of other,
I like
there's
how
other
other
reasons
people
to do good.
react when
I
I'm
was
nice.
asking the question that would you be more or less likely to shoplift if a police officer was next to you in a department store? It's a very simple ethical question.
But how does that make me good or not? That just makes me
makes
worried
you
about
act
consequences.
good.
No, it makes me worried about consequences, you little
Exactly.
faced man.
If you do not have consequences.
But consequences does not determine ethics. It
The
just
mark
means
of an intellectual fool is throwing around pejoratives when they don't have wisdom. Remember that. So the question is this. If you do not believe there's a consequence to your action, why wouldn't you do the action?
See, that's, again, the ideology of consequentialism. I don't really subscribe to that.
Yes, there should be consequences.
No, but I think that consequences, your actions can exist outside of a vacuum of consequences, right? We can't make our decisions based on whether or not we think the actions will lead to a certain outcome because those will always be random, right? So I revolve more around we try to do things that we think will promote general pro-social attitudes. I think that is more likely to get us other than worrying about that.
Let me ask you a hypothetical. This will tell me a lot. Is pedophilia wrong?
Pedophilia I consider to be wrong because it is actively damaging someone else, right?
But what if they say they're a minor attracted person and it's pro-social to be with a young person? Why are they wrong?
Do you know what pro-social means? Like, pro-social means, there's like pro-social and antisocial behaviors. It's like a theory of social psychology. Pro-social generally means like working together, socialization,
they're socializing with an 8-year-old. Why is that wrong?
Okay, that's not socializing and you know it. Antisocial behavior usually means doing things that are considered rejecting socialization, like rejecting other people, pushing things away, promoting things that other people actively end up considering less.
So then should pedophiles go to prison?
Pedophiles go to... I do not know what's the best way to handle pedophilia because how do we know... I don't think that anyone should molest a child, God forbid.
But hold on.
I really don't.
Why shouldn't a pedophile go to prison?
What? Again, we're getting really off topic. Let's go back to the ideas of good and evil and
we're
consequentialism.
Talking about college is a scam, and you're a perfect example, like one of the best I've ever seen to show the intellectual drivel that is caught on a college campus.
Okay, because you think that I'm not being taught about the good, the pure. Well, let's go back to that, because I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, the good, the true. We'll do a couple more minutes. The good, the true, and the beautiful, yes.
Right, so you think that that's something that can be quantified, can be taught, and that it...
And experienced.
And not only that, that it should be taught, that we should promote the ideas of good and beauty to other people.
Correct.
Okay, but let's remove it from that. What about just the idea of... Because, remember, the ancient Greeks and Romans that you love so much, they didn't have the same ideas of God in the same way that we do. But
That's
they
correct.
still... Thank you for saying I'm correct. That was really nice of you.
It's true, you're right.
So when they wanted to learn, when they sought out learning, when they had schools of learning and all that kind of stuff, a lot of the times they didn't just teach things around ethics. They taught other stuff. They taught astrology, they taught medicine, they taught science, they taught arts, and people wanted to learn that. Do you think that that ability, that experience of going into a place and saying, can you teach me more about this subject? Can I learn? Can I expand my worldview? Can I get open to different beliefs? Do you think that that should not be paid for or not be compensated?
First of all, it should definitely not be paid for. Secondly, it depends if those disciplines are rooted in the pursuit of truth, goodness, and beauty.
So you think only if they're tied into something that falls in your ideological worldview?
Can I finish? Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If those disciplines are rooted in the good, the true, and the beautiful, absolutely. Let me give you a hypothetical example.
Okay.
So if you go, I don't know if this school has one, but if they have some sort of center for like feminist ideology or some sort of do they have one here? Then that is not in the pursuit of what is good, true, and beautiful. That is in the pursuit of how I can complain and hate men and get a degree and be paid for that.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a lengthy conversation. Just that they kept switching away from the central theme of the message. I think the theme was centered on college being a scam, but they ended up switching to good and bad, moving back and forth, talking about ethics. It's all good, but I personally enjoyed this conversation. I believe you did the same. You know, there's one thing I keep saying. I'm always against intellectual conversation as such, which leads to insult. Bro, I will always be against that. Irrespective of the fact that this is a beautiful conversation, that insult that kept coming from both parties, intermittently, bro, that puts me off, man. That puts me off. But hey, let's put that aside. You know, Charlie kept mentioning the fact that the lady is a clear reason why they keep saying college is a scam. But bro, no. I think otherwise. The lady has gotten some solid points. And I was so excited knowing that there was no point the lady got stuck or something. Any question that came from Charlie or any topic for discussion that came on board, the lady was able to contribute something meaningful. You understand what I'm talking about? Let's get this right. The fact that you disagree with somebody doesn't necessarily guarantee the person to be stupid or something. There's a popular adage in Akan, which is a Ghanaian language. It goes like, Nyansa eni baako fuotrim. I just spoke Twi. That is my first or my primary language. Let me quickly translate it into English. It simply means wisdom is not in the head of one man. You understand what I'm talking about? One person can never know it all. So I really didn't like the fact that Charlie was trying to label that intelligent lady as stupid or something. I don't really support that. But the lady really made some meaningful conversation. A very good example was when she made mention of the fact that the kind of example Charlie cited by using the earliest days of civilization. They were not using religion so much, but rather they were, learning stuff like medicine, trying to build upon their worldview. And somebody who is dumb cannot easily come out with something of the sort. And I believe Charlie even nodded positively that that's fact, like that's right. So bro, let's get that fact, man. Let's get that fact. Knowledge can never be centered in the head of one man. The earlier you get to understand that fact, the more you get to understand the worldview or different perspective of others. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I believe I've said a lot about this particular piece. Once again, my name is Setrudu, and I'm excited you've gotten the opportunity to react to this particular piece. Let me hear from you. Well, if you love the content I do create, or if you love what I do, and you genuinely want to be part of this beautiful family, do what? Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and keep your comments coming. Peace.